Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Danielle, but you can call me Donnie B. If you have not done so already, I ask you please consider joining my fam, dropping down, hitting that subscribe button, also turning on your post notifications so you do not miss out when I post and upload. It is Christmas Day. We have already finished opening up all the presents with the kids, and you know, paper and toys are everywhere. But now it's time for me to start cooking. I know some people start cooking the night before, but we are not doing the traditional Christmas meal, you know, the turkey, ham, dressing and all of that stuff. If you have not seen my grocery haul, I'm gonna link it up above. I'm gonna link it up above so you can go back and watch my grocery haul so you can see everything that I got in order to prepare for my meal. But we are going to be doing a seafood lasagna with some asparagus, corn, and cheesy garlic bread. It's not going to take as long as it would with the traditional meal, and I didn't want to make it the night before because I wanted my lasagna to be fresh out of the oven. It might take me maybe 2 hours to do the entire meal. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off this meal preparation by first washing my hands, and I will be washing my hands multiple times throughout this cooking process. As you can see, I already have everything that I'm going to be utilizing laid out, and it makes things more easy for me when I get ready to while I'm meal prepping. So I also pull out a old Walmart bag. Everybody keeps those Walmart bags. So I have my Walmart bags, and I use them as a trash bag while I'm working. So I'm not traveling back and forth to the trash can. I just put a bag on top of the counter and I put all of my trash on it or in it while I'm preparing all of my ingredients. I'm dicing up half of a large onion, or you can use one small onion. I'm going to follow suit with a bell pepper, with one green bell pepper. You can also use a red or a yellow bell pepper. It's whatever you like. Just know, like the red bell peppers, they tend to be a little more sweeter than the green bell peppers, but I am going to go ahead and slice and dice this up and try to have uniform pieces. It's almost the same size as my onions, so when I get ready to saute them, it won't take as long and they'll pretty much cook around the same time. In this pot, I'm preparing my spaghetti water or my lasagna water, and so I'm going to salt that water pretty heavily, and I'm going to put the lid on it so it boils faster. I have all of my ingredients laid out, so all I have to do is grab and go when I get ready to start cooking. In a regular lasagna, you have a meat sauce, and what I'm making now, or starting on now, is the equivalent of that, starting off by melting half a stick of butter, and I am going to go ahead and add my onion and bell pepper and saute those off until they get translucent and soft. Now to my quote-unquote meat sauce, I will be adding a can of mild Rotel tomatoes. You can use whatever flavor Rotel tomatoes you like. I can't handle too much spice, so I choose mild. Now I'm going to use a full brick of cream cheese. I prefer Philadelphia. I've tried the Walmart brand and it has absolutely no flavor, so I leave it on the shelf where it sits. While the cream cheese continues to melt, I am going to melt half a stick of butter for my bechamel sauce, and this is what the cream cheese looks like as it's softening and melting. A lot of my cooking on today is going to consist of me eyeballing. So this is some Parmesan cheese that I'm going to be adding. It's a 6-ounce bag, and I'm just putting like 2.5 fistfuls in there, and I'm going to stir it up and let that Parmesan cheese melt. Continuing to work on the roux for my bechamel sauce, I add 1/4 cup of flour to this half a stick of butter, and I am going to go ahead and give this a good stir. I'm not going to let it get too dark because I want this to be a white or blonde roux. And now I'm adding the meat to my meat sauce, which would be my crawfish tails as well as my shrimp. You want to make sure you continue to stir your roux so it does not burn on the bottom. Now that my flour has cooked down and doesn't have that raw flavor, I'm going to be adding some heavy whipping cream. This is about, again, I'm eyeballing this, okay? So this is about a cup of heavy whipping cream that I'm adding to this. You can add as much or as little heavy whipping cream as you like into your roux, depending on how thick or how thin you want it to be. Now, seasoning my meat sauce, I keep it super duper simple. All I'm going to be using is some Zatarain's. The Zatarain's has a whole bunch of different flavors in it, and I find that just using this one seasoning for my meat sauce is sufficient enough for this. I get a little more complex, but not too complex with the seasoning of my bechamel sauce. It's still, I'm sure it's seasonings that you may already have in your pantry. So I'm going to start off with a little salt pepper, which is Himalayan sea salt. This is a little Italian seasoning, and then I'm going to add some garlic powder and some onion powder, and then I'm going to give that a good stir. Tasting as you go is very important as you layer your flavors. Remember that you can always add, but you cannot take away. So start off lightly and then add on as you see fit. I'm going to top this off with just a little Zatarain's, and that completely set it off. I'm going to preheat my oven for 350 as I start assembling. I'm first going to start off with a layer of bechamel, so when I put the noodles on top of that, it does not stick to my dish. Next, I'm going to add a layer of lasagna noodles. I'm just going to place them side by side. These are the lasagna noodles that do not require you to cook them first, where you can just place and bake them, but I boil them still first because I do not like the way that they come out or they cook when I just place and bake. I would have to cook my lasagna longer than it would have to be. And these are seafood. You know, seafood can get a little tough when you cook them for a long time, so I chose to cook my lasagna noodles first. Now I'm just going to layer it with my meat sauce, which was a complete mistake. I should have put another layer of bechamel on top of the lasagna noodles because it would be easier to distribute the bechamel sauce on top of the lasagna noodles, and I will correct that later on if you continue to watch. You can use any cheese you like, but I am going to be using a variety of 3 different cheeses. I'm going to start off with some mozzarella because I love the pull that mozzarella gives as well as the flavor. Then I'm going to use some pepper jack cheese because my husband likes a little, kick in his lasagna. And then I'm going to put a little more Parmesan cheese that I had earlier when I made my meat sauce. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on top of that. And I'm also going to be sprinkling a layer of crab meat. This is lump crab meat. I got this from Walmart. I will never purchase this again. I will go to Kroger from now on and get the crab meat like I usually do, but I put half the container on there, and from here on I'm just going to repetitively do the same thing that I did before, but again I am going to change up the order by putting the bechamel sauce on first. Lastly, I'm going to top off this lasagna with a little more Italian seasoning for both color and flavor. No meal is complete without side items. Side items I'm going to be making today will be some corn on the cob as well as some asparagus. Starting off with some corn on the cob, I am going to be placing that in some water. Now what I added was some sugar, and so yes, I did boil that in sugar water. It adds a little sweetness to my corn, and then I'm going to start on my asparagus while that corn cooks. I'm going to cut the bottoms off. Everyone knows how asparagus is done, right? You're gonna go ahead and break the bottom off to see where it snaps by itself, and that gets rid of all the fibrous ends. I'm going to be roasting this asparagus in the oven. Seasoning is going to be very simple. I'm going to drizzle with some olive oil, add some salt, pepper, some seasoning salt, some onion powder, garlic powder, and some complete seasoning. The key is complete seasoning. Oh, and I added a little accent, just a little accent. I'm going to be cooking my lasagna for 45 minutes, so I'm going to place that in the oven for 45 minutes. When it hits, once it's been in the oven for 15 minutes, then I'm going to go ahead and add my asparagus and let it continue to cook the rest of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and take my asparagus out, and I'm going to toss it to make sure it is thoroughly cooked. And this is my final product. This is what the lasagna looks like, and my asparagus after it had roasted for 30 minutes. Making sure that I toss it, and I had some garlic cheesy bread, some great value. I love this stuff, it's amazing. And I have some corn. I did finish this off with some melted butter, salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder, and I tossed it aside. And then I'm just going to cut a piece, going to make my husband's plate, and we are going to eat and enjoy. Ideally, I would have let my lasagna sit for a little while, but my husband and I, we were starving, and so we couldn't wait that long. We wanted to eat then and now. So it is, you know, a little looser than I would want for it to be, but it was still delicious. It was great. It was fantastic. We both went back for seconds, and don't tell nobody, but we went back for thirds as well because it was just that good. But yeah, other than letting it sit up for a little while to let it get a little more solidified, I mean, you can beat this flavor. It was delicious.
Music by donyb.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of donyb TV. On your way out, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, enjoy your day.